Yo, what is going on today? Welcome back to another episode of Bank Shot Basketball, where today we're going to be talking about trust issues. Oh yeah, can we really trust the process in the playoffs? We're going to find out. We're going to be talking about Ben Simmons. We're going to be talking about their new head coach, Doc Rivers. We're going to be breaking down the bench. We're going to be breaking down numbers. You know we keep it 100 around here. You know we keep it thorough. So let's get ready. Let's go. So before we go forward, let's just look backwards real quick. So in the offseason, the Philadelphia 76ers, they brought in Doc Rivers. He's there to replace Brett Brown. They brought in Seth Curry and Danny Green as well from the LA Lakers. We got a healthy Ben Simmons. So this season so far, it's gone pretty good for Joel Embiid. His team is clicking. They have great chemistry. Things are going smooth. So as the season starts to unwind, we start to think about who can come out of the East. We have to stop and think about Joel Embiid and the 76ers and their past. He has a record of 10-13 in the playoffs, and there's been times where he's done good. There's been times where he's struggled, like last year in the bubble where he took on the Boston Celtics. Now, the bubble was a unique situation. Obviously, you're away from friends, you're away from family. It can be very difficult, and emotionally and mentally, it was hard for a lot of guys. Now, things seem to be different this season. Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate. The man's been killing it. His numbers are 29, 10, and 3. He's up there with guys like Jokic. He's been up there with guys like James Harden and even Curry. There are a lot of different MVP candidates this year, but one that's been consistent is Joel Embiid. Now, do I believe Joel Embiid is the MVP? I'm going to have to say no. If you're a fan of the channel, you've been following, you know I believe CP3 is the MVP. When it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers, I believe that Doc Rivers has really unlocked their potential. He's doing things that Brett Brown never did, and I was just never a fan of Brown. Okay, so now we have some interesting stats here. Joel Embiid, he's a big man that can stretch the floor. He's hit 53 three-pointers this year. He's been in his bag. He's been doing his thing. Now, the Philadelphia 76ers, they have two big players that we got to consider, and the other is Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons has only hit 5 three-pointers in his career. At the start of the season, a lot of people made a lot of noise about his lack of three-point shooting. People said that Doc Rivers should come in and make him shoot more threes. They said if Ben Simmons ever wants to make it to that next elite level in the NBA, he has to develop his shot. So there are a lot of naysayers out there that are skeptical and had a lot of criticism for Ben Simmons. At the start of the season, Doc Rivers was on, I believe, First Take. He was chopping it up with Stephen A. Smith. And during that time, he confronted Stephen A. Smith about his criticism of Ben Simmons. He said, "You're way too focused on threes with Ben. I'm trying to make him a great player. Again, I'm just going to keep saying it. You guys can count all his threes. I'm going to count all the wins." To Doc Rivers' point, Ben Simmons has excelled. He's done great. Even though he hasn't been capable of knocking down threes, he's still a very effective player. He's able to get in the paint at will. His free throw percentage is okay. It's not too bad. And overall, he's been able to succeed in the NBA even with the lack of a shot. He's kind of like an early LeBron James in Cleveland, or even a Giannis before he was able to develop his three. And honestly, Doc Rivers is correct. The Philadelphia 76ers have had a lot of success despite Ben Simmons' lack of shooting. There was two players before Ben and Joel that people seem to forget. So even though Ben and Joel have their problems, I think Philadelphia overall is doing very well. The process has worked for them, and it wasn't always easy. So as I said, the process has been working, and the team has had success. Ben Simmons is 141 and only has 62 losses with Joel Embiid in his career. So these two are a great 1-2 punch. They're a great tandem. They're a two-man wrecking crew. They get the job done. The thing is, there's been times when Joel has been injured. There's been times, as I said, last year when Ben Simmons was out in the bubble. So things happen, and these guys can't stay on the court together sometimes. Now, when Joel and Ben are on the court together, it's been pretty good. This year, the Philadelphia 76ers, they've been great defensively. In fact, we're going to have some more numbers on that later on, but right now I want to just pull up this quote that Joel Embiid has on Ben Simmons talking about his defense. He said he's been aggressive. He's been himself. He's made a huge step. Even last year, he started last year defensively. He's able to guard whoever has the hot hand, and that's huge for us. So defensively, the 76ers are doing great. Ben Simmons is stepping up and doing his job. But it's not just all about Ben, and it's not just all about Joel. This offseason, they brought in Doc Rivers, as I said, and Doc Rivers seems to be like Tobias Harris whisperer or something. He knows how to get the most out of Tobias. So we have Tobias's career numbers right here, and next we're going to go ahead and show his numbers with the Philadelphia 76ers this season. And this season, he's averaging almost 20.7 boards and 3 assists. That's not bad at all. Tobias was almost even an all-star this year. He's been balling out, and he's been that third piece that the 76ers need to make that next step. If we want to get rid of these trust issues, if we want to erase this past of being up and down, we need guys like Tobias Harris to be consistent. Overall, the Philadelphia 76ers need that X factor. In the past, they had guys like Robert Covington, they had guys like JJ Redick, they had guys like Jimmy Butler. You can see Jimmy's numbers right here. He's putting up big numbers. He had almost 18, 5, and 4. He was doing the thing. He was their X factor. Joel Embiid even said, when it was the fourth quarter, we knew the ball was either going to be in my hands or Jimmy's hands. He said, that's my brother forever, and I wish he was still on the team. For a young team like the Philadelphia 76ers at the time, having that veteran presence, having that X factor, having that guy they could lean on, eliminated any trust issues they had on that team. So now with guys like Jimmy gone, guys like JJ Redick gone, some of those veterans, it's on Joel Embiid. It's on his shoulders. Last year, all that weight was on his shoulders, especially with Ben Simmons out. He averaged 30, 12, and he had a steal in there. As I said, the bubble was extremely hard, but Joel played big. He just couldn't get it done for his team on his own. Now, one player that was coveted by everybody in the league this trade deadline was Kyle Lowry. Lowry almost ended up on the Lakers. He was almost with the Miami Heat. The Philadelphia 76ers went hard at him, but at the end, they couldn't get him. So, with no Lowry, without those veteran players they did have, they're going to have to rely this year on their new players such as Seth Curry. Seth Curry has hit 111 three-pointers this season, so far, he's earning his keep and he's carrying his weight for the team. So next, let's go ahead and break down some defensive numbers. We talked a lot about offense. We talked a lot about role players. Let's get back to this year. Let's focus on the present. So the 76ers, their defense, they have a defensive rating of 107.4 this season. Now, they are actually the second best defense in the league, only behind the Los Angeles Lakers. So in a tough East this year, having great defense is big. Defense wins championships, so they're on the right track with that. As I said, defense wins championships, and one player taking defense serious is Ben Simmons. He's campaigned a lot and said he wants to be Defensive Player of the Year. His coach has a quote right here where he gave Ben credit saying he's swallowing up the other players. And if the 76ers want to take down teams like the Bucks or the Nets or even my Miami Heat, they're going to have to get it done on the defensive end. Okay, all right. So that's going to take care of some trust issues right there. They're getting it done on the defensive end, but what about the offense? Well, offensively, they're right in the middle of the pack. They're 13th, which is kind of head-scratching to me considering they have Ben and Joel and shooters like Danny Green and Seth Curry. Maybe that'll be enough to get them by in the East. It may not. Hey. I hear everybody in the back screaming about, hey man, what about the Brooklyn Nets? They're the big threat in the East. They are the favorite. They have all the best players. Well, I'm aware of that, and so is Joel Embiid. Earlier in the season when they played against each other, Joel Embiid put out this quote, and he talked about how important it is for the 76ers to get that number 1 seed. It seems like this season, Joel Embiid has a new level of maturity to him. He's taking the game serious. He's taking his body serious. And maybe that's why he's having such a great MVP candidate year. Okay, so we really broke it down today. We talked about Ben and Joel and the success they've had. We talked about Tobias Harris. We even went over the new coach Doc Rivers and the impact he's having on the team. Defensively, they're one of the best teams out there. They're the middle of the pack when it comes to offense. And still, they're the number 1 seed and they have an MVP candidate with Joel Embiid. So the regular season has gone great for the Philadelphia 76ers. Oh man, somebody get me a towel. I am sweating. We've gotten to my favorite part of the video, talking about the playoffs. As you can see here, Philadelphia 76ers, they're sitting at the top of the East. They're running things. If the playoffs started today, they'd be taking on the Hornets. I think that'd be a fun series to watch. You get to see LaMelo Ball, Scary Terry, Gordon Hayward taking on the process and Ben Simmons. It'd be a great series. Now things could change. We got the play-in. Wizards could move up. Pacers could move up. You never know what's going to happen in the East. But either way, I think long-term, this is one of the best Philadelphia 76ers seasons they've had. In the past, it was hard to trust a team like this, but I think this year, with their new level of maturity, their commitment to defense, I think they might eliminate some of those trust issues people might have about their team. Hey, but what do I know? If you disagree, let me know in the comments. Hit me up. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. I'm Lazy. I've been keeping it 100. I'm out.